Hello, Abnormal Family. I've been working on another video. This one comes out of Oklahoma, and it actually is a very interesting video to me. It's somewhere I would like to travel, maybe eventually, to be able to try to find this location. The name is Bobby Dale Jameson, Cheryl Lynn Madison Jameson. Date October 8th, 2009. Location Eufaula, Oklahoma. The moon phase during this time was a waning gibbous, 80% illumination. The suspect of this case could either be cryptid or human. The Jameson family of Eufaula, Oklahoma disappeared on October 8th, 2009. And though their bodies were found 4 years later, their case remains a mystery. Bobby Dale Jameson, his wife Cheryl Lynn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison were living what appeared to be normal lives in Eufaula, Oklahoma, until October 8th, 2009. That day, all three of them mysteriously disappeared from their home with no indication of where they could have possibly gone. After a few days of searching, the police turned up the family's pickup truck, but only raised more questions than it answered. The Jameson family truck was found in Latimer County, about an hour drive from their home. The family had recently been in the area looking for 40 acres of land where they planned to live inside a storage shed they had already owned. The family was pursuing properties near Red Oak, Oklahoma to purchase land. Witnesses saw the Jamesons in the area, but the Jameson family never returned from the woods after a few days. The family reported them as missing. But the items discovered in the truck seemed to indicate the couple had not planned to be away from the truck for long, and side investigations found their ID, wallets, phones, Cheryl Lynn's purse, and the family dog, which was malnourished but still alive in the back seat of the truck. They also found $32,000 in cash. Both Bobby Dale and Cheryl Lynn were on disability at the time of their disappearance, and where they could have gotten that much cash or where they intended to do with that much cash was unknown. Investigators suspected that the drugs may have been involved in the disappearance and that the large amount of cash was the result of the couple either buying or selling drugs. That later could not be proven. But they couldn't explain why they would have brought their daughter along with them, and it was impossible to tell from the condition of the truck if they had left voluntarily or had been forced out of the car by someone else, perhaps leaving their belongings behind while under duress. A search party was formed, and investigators combed through miles of woods and surrounding area looking for any trace of the Jameson family. They turned up nothing. Now remember, they looked miles around this vehicle. The case went cold. Excuse me. The case went cold until November 16, 2013. That day, 3 miles from where the Jameson family truck was found, 4 years earlier, hunters stumbled upon the partial skeletal remains of 2 adults, 1 child. Forensic testing proved that they were the skeletons of the Jameson family. But due to the state of decomposition, the cause of death could not be determined. They were found 3 miles from the vehicle. First, they uncovered a strange security video taken outside the Jameson family home the night they left. In the video, the couple is seen going back and forth between the house and truck packing up their belongings. As if that weren't strange enough, prior to their disappearance, Bobby had gone to their pastor to claim that his home was haunted, saying that he had 2 to 4 ghosts on the roof. The family pastor, Gary Brandon, proposed Bobby and Cheryl Lynn were engaged in spiritual warfare. The Jamesons believed the spirits possessed their home. Allegedly, Bobby told Brandon he had a satanic Bible and later asked for the spiritual bullets, and could bullets be blessed to help with the exorcism. He was asking the pastor to bless his bullets to be able to kill the creatures on the roof. During the first investigation of the Jameson home, police found messages inscribed in the family storage unit, such as 3 cats killed to date by sick people in this area. Witches don't act like they're black cat killed. Brandon also maintained Cheryl Lynn told him she saw multiple spirits at the house but believed she had the ability to cast out demons. One theory is that a former border and white supremacist killed the family. Allegedly, a handyman once rented a room from the Jamesons but did not get along with Cheryl Lynn when staying with the family. The man muttered racial slurs talking about white supremacy until Cheryl Lynn ordered him off the property at gunpoint. Theorists allege police found a pill bottle with his name in the truck among multiple empty containers recovered but cleared unidentified border of the murders. This was never substantiated. When investigators recovered the skeletons in 2014, later identified as Jameson's, they found a dried flower with Madison's remains. When police searched the Jameson's truck, they found Cheryl Lynn's gun missing. They also discovered an aggressive 11-page hate letter from Cheryl Lynn to her husband in a later interview. Coqueton. You know, guys, what's getting really weird is there's a flower there after that many years. You would think that the flower would not be by the bodies and the bodies would be dispersed due to the animals. I think it's strange that the bodies were still intact and in the same position after years. Kind of made me wonder if they weren't maybe the bodies planted there at a later time. Kind of like in the 411 cases where areas that were searched over and over, then the bodies end up found back in that area. Coca described her daughter as bipolar and confirmed Bobby frequently took prescriptions, painkillers for persistent back injury. Reportedly, both suffered from depression. At one point, police considered Cheryl Lynn killed her husband and daughter before killing herself, but have refrained from drawing definite conclusions. Some investigators who studied the Jameson family disappearance and death think it's possible the family might have been exposed to carbon monoxide leak while sleeping in their car. Carbon monoxide poisoning can cause confusion. Theoretically, the disorientation family could have wandered into the mountains, terrain, and later died from natural elements. Now, I've done some looking, and carbon monoxide symptoms of confusion go away or reduce shortly after moving into an area with fresh air, breathing impure oxygen through a mask. So even if they suffered carbon monoxide poisoning after exiting the vehicle, shortly after they would have started coming around to their senses because they would have regained fresh air. The average person in an open space can walk 3 miles in 45 to 60 minutes. But here's the thing. Exposure to carbon monoxide poisoning causes vomiting, loss of consciousness, brain damage, heart irregularity, breathing difficulties, muscle weakness, and death, along with muscle fatigue. So that tells me they probably did not walk that far if they had carbon monoxide poisoning. 2013, deer hunters found the bodies less than 3 miles away from their truck. Police later confirmed there were no signs of foul play. However, medical examiners ruled the cause of death is unknown due to the level of decomposition, but could not rule out disease or trauma. The bodies were found on Ponola Mountain. Cheryl Lynn has also purchased a satanic Bible, allegedly as a joke. However, Bobby Dale confessed to his pastor that he had read it, leading some people to believe that witchcraft may have been a factor. Later, it was said that Bobby bought the Bible and not his wife, so there was conflicting stories as to who had bought the Bible. A witch's Bible also is what it was also later called, and not a satanic Bible. To me, they're both the same thing, but there was a discrepancy over if it was a witch's Bible or a satanic Bible. I think they're both the same. Cheryl Lynn's mother, Connie Cockington, believed that the Jamesons had somehow gotten entangled with a cult and were murdered by violent members. But she never named a cult, and no evidence has ever been discovered to support that theory. Cheryl Lynn's mother, Connie, told police she believes a religious cult could be behind the killings. You know, she said, just like I've said from the beginning, I think somebody killed them. There's just no way that Bobby and Cheryl Lynn would ever let anything happen to Madison unless something had been done to them. Police did look into the theory that the Jamesons families had been a murder-suicide. They uncovered an angry letter written from Cheryl Lynn to Bobby that was 11 pages long. This led them to speculate that Bobby Dale had driven his whole family into the woods, murdered his wife, daughter, and then himself. But this theory could not be proven due to lack of evidence for gunshot wounds, and the weapon was also never found. So to me, they can't even prove the weapon was ever in the truck. Another hypothesis considered was that Bobby Dale's father, Bob Dean Jameson, had been involved. Bobby Dale had filed a protective order against his dad, claiming that he had threatened to kill them and his family and that they were afraid of their lives. Bobby Dale's petition for protective order paints a picture of a very dangerous man who thinks he's above the law and was involved in prostitution, gangs, and meth. However, Bobby Dean Jameson died a mere 2 months after the Jameson family went missing, and he had been in poor health for some time, years. His brother Jack Jameson claimed that he was either in a hospital or a rest home at the time, and although he was a disturbed individual, he was not capable of being involved in the murders due to his health. I done some digging and some research, and I found out that Cheryl Lynn did struggle with bipolarism. She would go on and off of her medication. When she was off of her medication, she seemed hateful, angry, and would be challenged to get along with her. In 2007, Cheryl Lynn's sister died from a sting on her tongue from a bee. That really affected her. Bobby's mother and dad both got a divorce. Cheryl Lynn's son wanted to live with her father. He was 12 and made the decision and said his mother was acting odd and didn't want to live with her. She lost custody of him in 2009. After losing her son's custody, Cheryl Lynn tried to take her own life, placed in a hospital where she was later stabilized. Madison started kindergarten and her front teeth were knocked out, and then she was later homeschooled. He planned on buying property, 40 acres, and living in a shipping container was their plans when they was looking for this property whenever they went missing. They had, to me, that shows hope and a plan to survive, so I don't see them committing suicide if they're looking for a place to live in the country. I plan on buying the property in Lattimore County. Population at that time is approximately 9,000. Where they was going to live would have been around the Sands Boys Mountains where there was no water or electric, etc. They planned on living totally off-grid. October 16, 2009, hunters find the truck and report it. Wording in the letter is off. The family and friends said it is not how she spoke at all in the letter that they found inside of the truck. They said that the handwriting did not match her or Bobby, and that the writing was often not how she had wrote in other books or in her diaries. It kind of sounds staged a little bit at this point. 3 days prior to the Jamesons going missing, the wife had written a letter that was very nice to her husband. Angry letter, not dated, and could have been written in the past. The letters did not coincide in the handwriting. Cheryl Lynn and Bobby believed their house was haunted. His wife always said she could speak to the spirits and cast out demons. Forensic psychologists said the letters could not be admitted into court evidence as both parties did not agree on the handwriting evaluation. Cheryl Lynn and Bobby believed their house was haunted. Bobby said he had seen spirits October 2nd through the 4th, spirits on the roof. He was bothered and thought they were there to hurt him. He bought a satanic Bible to cast out spirits away. That was the first issue, as he got the wrong thing. He probably opened up something even larger when he started doing that. He asked for special bullets for spiritual warfare. Were these spirits or were these cryptids on his roof? And we will get to that in just a second. Bullets would suggest the creatures would have been flesh and blood, and he would have thought that they would have had an impact against these creatures. Cheryl Lynn's spirits were in the home, 2 to 4 of them, not threatened by them, and her and Madison, her youngest daughter, could speak to the dead, and that these forms were in the form of children, and they had the name of 2 of these entities that they said were in their house. One of them went by the name of Michael, and the other one went by the name of Emily. Madison made her friends with one and talked to it regularly. Cheryl Lynn also told her neighbors she was a witch. Weird writings on the shipping container to neighbors not to poison her cats. She invited her neighbors over on several occasions to have what she called a witch's brew. There was no drugs found in her home or any evidence that drugs had been manufactured in the home or the vehicle. which made investigators unable to say that it was drug related. Her mom lived with them and she said she would have known if there was drug use. There was a brown briefcase that was also missing that they saved from the vehicle. There's a lot of things that went on here that really caused me to really wonder things. And the reason I really wondered things, and I'm talking to a lady that lives in the same area that's experiencing somewhat the same things that the Jameson family experienced. She has things on her roof. She has things in her yard. One thing that tried to grab her son, they've had him in her house, and they're pretty much at her house every day. Red Dirt Cryptids has investigated this area and said there is, in his mind, no doubt something going on there that is cryptid related. If this is all related into cryptids, what really happened to this family? What happened to this little girl that lost her life with her mom and dad? Did the cryptids draw them to the country and follow them there? Or was it something more sinister? Was there a possession or evil spirits or demons that possessed them and caused them to go into this zombie-like state where they were carrying items from their house, putting them in the truck, taking the same item back, and then taking it back and putting it back into the truck? They are known to cause confusion. What do you think happened to this family? Do you think it was demons? Do you think it was cryptids? Or do you believe they were just a family that was depressed and took their own lives at murder-suicide? Since there was a cryptid aspect to this, and I'm investigating with the lady that lives in the area that has similar instances that she is sure is cryptids, it made this story, I believe, worth telling. Thank you for your time at watching this video. I look forward to your comments as I will answer each and every one of them. Let me know what you think done it. Until next time, keep your head on a swivel and don't be something's dinner. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, ring the bell, and become part of the Abnormal family. We'd love to have you. Thank you for joining.